Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms. I'm Jason. Thanks for joining me, along with my son Blake and my nephew Jake. We have a skeleton crew today to get everything picked. Everybody has gone back to school or is off today, so it's just us three getting everything picked. It's probably just going to be sweet corn, and then they got other things to do. I'm going to be solo for part of the day. So we're starting on this little block right here. Everything else in this field has been picked and mowed down, and I just left this little section right here because it was underwater during one of those recent heavy rains that we had. There's probably 10 or 20 dozen in there. So we're getting that picked first. Then we're heading down the valley over this hill. There's a couple nice little patches down there, and I'll show you the corn that I burned up with some herbicide a couple months ago, which cost me big because we are hurting for corn, and we have Labor Day weekend coming up this weekend. As you can see right here, there's no corn, but there's corn planted. See how it's all stunted and basically dead with no tassels or ears? It's like that all the way, a couple hundred yards that way. This is where I burnt and killed about 1.5 acres of sweet corn. It's gonna cost me dearly because it was my Labor Day corn. About 2/3 of my Labor Day corn. Fortunately, I have another nice patch over there all the way to the silos and over by those tree lines that is not quite ready, but it should be ready for Friday picking. So what happened here, the grass was so out of control down here, I decided to try to control it with some post-emergent herbicides that you can spray over the top of corn, and it doesn't hurt the corn. However, I must have forgotten that I'd already hit this section once, and apparently I hit it twice, and the sweet corn was not able to handle 2 applications of this post-emergent corn herbicide. Normally, I don't have to spray anything like that, but this section did get out of control, so I was trying to salvage my crop, and I ended up killing it. Nothing I can do about it now. We're just trying to pick. So this is what it should all look like. This nice little block of corn right here, it should look like that all the way back. Obviously, this only got 1 application instead of 2, and it survived. So we got this little block here. Hopefully we can get 10 or 20 dozen out of there. Maybe 5 or 10 dozen up here. Yeah, there's not much. Oh boy. Hoping I can find some corn to buy for this weekend. So we're sitting here contemplating on what to do. I don't have enough corn. This is all we got. It's about 35 dozen. We're way short. I need twice as much as this just to get me through tomorrow to send out my mobile market trailer. So I got a lead on some corn that I can get delivered on Friday, but that doesn't help me out for Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow and Thursday. Today's Tuesday. We're gonna stop up at the new patch that I pointed out. It's up by our dairy barn, by the trees in the silo, just to see how it looks. I mean, if we can get 5 or 6 more tubs, another 20, 30 dozen out of there, I might be okay for tomorrow. But I'm gonna have to start searching around for some other local growers in my area that may have some extra sweet corn, unfortunately. All right, I'm out here in our new patches. It's supposed to be our Labor Day corn, I call it. I planted on June 19th or 20th, and going by past history's results, that usually gets me perfect corn for Labor Day, the weekend prior to Labor Day. However, Labor Day falls a little bit early this year. It's on September 2nd, I believe. So that means Labor Day picking is going to be August 31st, right? September 1st, whatever. This variety must be a later variety. It's not even close. It's a week off. And this corn right here, it needs 2 or 3 more days, and it would be nice to have a good rain on it. I'll show you what it looks like. I mean, it's just barely there. It's a little on the young side, I even see a little bit of blistery kernels up there at the top. So we gotta be really careful picking this stuff. It's just not quite ready. I think on a normal growing season it would be ready, but we had unseasonably cool weather for like a week to 10 days, and I think that set things back. We had plenty of rain early on when this was getting established, but now we're almost in drought conditions, and this corn could really benefit from a good rain to finish filling it out. It is what it is. We're gonna do our best. We're just going to skim through here and see what we can find. It's not looking good. No driver today. Since it's just me and our skeleton crew, I activated the GPS auto steering. Oh, I better hop back on. Activate the auto steering. We just finished packing up corn. How much do you think I got? I was not hopeful that we even had 10 or 12 tubs, but I'm pleasantly surprised that we got 16, exactly what I need to get through one day on the mobile market trailer at our satellite location. So we survived for one more day, but I'm in trouble for Friday and Saturday. We're not even gonna go into that patch until Friday. I'm gonna give it 3 full days to ripen. So today's Tuesday, so it'll ripen Wednesday and Thursday and today. And then Friday morning we'll go in there and hopefully we can get 300 or 400 dozen out of that patch, which is still only half of what I need to get through the weekend. I got a lead on possibly buying 4 bins, melon bins full. That's 200 dozen. I can sell that at my Dublin location, my Powell location, and of course on my trailer. So whatever I get out of that patch, I will first make sure I have enough for Worthington and then Clintonville. The two, they're certified farmers markets. You're only allowed to sell what you grow. You cannot bring in neighboring farms or wholesale or any other kind of produce other than what you grow. So I'll make sure those 2 markets are topped off with what they need first. Well, and this one, but that's if I can't find any to buy. If I can't find any corn to buy, I'll make sure this one is topped off first, no matter what. And then Worthington, then Clintonville, and then any other boughten corn I can find from neighboring farms or from my my wholesale provider who buys corn up near Canton, Akron, Cleveland area. If I can get some from him, I can use that for the Powell or Dublin Farmers Market where I can sell neighboring farms' produce. All right, I'm gonna roll that in the cooler and then I'm solo the rest of the day. I have tomatoes that I need to box up. Emma and I picked, well, I should say she picked most of the tomatoes. I helped her for about a half hour yesterday. She hopefully has about 50 boxes worth piled up out on the plastic mulch. I had her go through like we did last week and just pick the #1 medium and large tomatoes and make piles on the plastic about every 10 feet. I'm gonna go out there by myself and start loading them up because I hate seeing those tomatoes sit out in the heat all day today, all day tomorrow. I have my oldest son available tomorrow afternoon after 4, but it is just gonna be miserably hot. So I'm gonna go get started on loading some of those tomatoes up and getting them out of the field and getting them into my tomato cooler to chill down to 60 degrees. I don't want to pick them when they're 85, 90 degrees and then put them in a cooler for 2 reasons. One, it's a lot of extra work for my air conditioner cooling unit on that cooler to bring down the tomatoes. And I know they're going to stay hot for days and days, you know, where they're packed tight in the center. It takes a long time for the cold air to penetrate into the center of that pallet and cool those tomatoes down. And there's a lot greater chance of them rotting and not holding for through the weekend or even next week if I don't sell them all this weekend. Alrighty, so that's what's going on the rest of this morning. Picking's done. Packing tomatoes and getting them up here. And then I'm probably gonna go out and do some solo green bean picking. All right, I'm out here in our tomato patch now. It is getting hot. It's a high of 91. There's a heat index warning here in Ohio today, but it's stagnant and humid and just hot. I know 91 is not that hot for the South and even for Ohio weather, but late August, on these dog days of August, 91 is hot. Absolutely miserable. So I'm gonna try to get some of this work done before it gets any hotter. It's probably only about 80 right now, but it's climbing fast. So as you can see, we got piles of tomatoes, about every other stake, down the row, all the way down there. Yes, I know the tomato plants look like garbage. They're full of blight and other things. The season's basically over for the field tomatoes. We'll get maybe 1 or 2 more little picks out of them and they'll be done. Fortunately, I have another row that I'll be showing you here after I load up some of these that looks pretty good. There is some blight moving in, but about half the patch is beautiful and green. And I kid you not, some of the tomatoes are almost as big as softballs, like almost like grapefruit, in between baseballs and softballs. They are beautiful. So hopefully those don't get any worse, and we'll have a couple good picks out of there in the coming weeks before it really starts getting cold and the tomatoes will all kind of like start dying off. All right, I'm gonna get busy loading these up and get out of here before it gets any hotter. This goes pretty fast since they're already picked. All I gotta do is throw them in the box. That heat did a number on them yesterday. I noticed some of them are starting to get a little on the soft side. It was so hot yesterday. And I'll probably just make piles of boxes down the row and then I'll come and pick them up later. As you can see, there are a lot of tomatoes out here, but a lot of them are very small. And part of the reason for that is the tomatoes got ahead of us this year after we transplanted, and we didn't get the first stringing up in time, and we also didn't get any bottom branches and suckers removed. I like to remove 3 or 4 of the bottom branches when the plants are about, oh, I don't know, 12 to 15 inches tall after the first stringing. We come through and we strip all the bottom branches and suckers off the bottom, and that helps give us bigger tomatoes. Something else I'm noticing, because we left them out in the heat upside down, they got almost sunburnt. They're like getting squishy and soft. So the ones that are sitting on top upside down, that was a bad idea. We should have had them all facing stem up, and I think it would have held up better. Now the ones that are in the other side of the row, the plants shaded them. They're fine. It's the ones that were upside down on this side of the row with the sun beating down on them. Yeah, it's a squishy bad spot. I can't use it. So I have to get all of this done today. They cannot sit out here in the heat another day, or they will all be ruined, and then all the work we put in yesterday picking these was for nothing. Got a long way to go. I got about 12 boxes done, and there's at least 50 to 70 more out here, so I'll be out here till at least lunchtime. That's fine. I'll survive. Oh, there's a beauty. Something I was thinking about that I failed to mention when we were packing corn is about how much corn I need to get me through this weekend. So for Friday on our trailer and for Saturday farmers markets, I need about 700 dozen. That would kind of max out every market. I could get by with 500 or 600, but I would like to have 700. And at $8 to $9 a dozen, one place I only charge $7 a dozen, but a lot of people buy it by the ear or small increments of like 3, 4, or 6 ears. So I average at least $9 a dozen. So we're talking about $5,000 to $6,000 of revenue that I'm going to miss out on if I can't either find corn or have my own corn ready. Even if I have to find corn, you know, I'm going to make half that. Yes, I'll be able to sell it and make a little bit of profit, but I'm only going to make half of what I could make if it was my own corn. So I'm kind of losing money 2 ways. You know, I have all the input costs involved with raising corn that I'm not going to recoup because the corn is not there. I either killed it or it's not ripe. But I'm just hopeful that we can find a couple 100 dozen at least to supplement what we have of our own. Hopefully that patch back there on the other side of the tree lines is going to be ready for Friday to pick. And I'm hoping we can get 300 or 400 dozen out there. So everything from here on out is pure profit. So I need to sell as much as I possibly can here in the final few weeks of good sales at farmers markets, because it's going to really go downhill after Labor Day. Yeah, this is a huge weekend for us to not have corn. Kind of stinks, but like I said, it is what it is. We're going to do our best to harvest what we have and find some neighboring corn to supplement our own. Man, it is getting hot. I was drenched in sweat out there. I got one more row to pick up on the new row. Probably only 10 or 12 boxes. So it's almost lunchtime. I'm gonna go get that done and then I'm going in to cool off. Woo! Man, I'll be glad when this is done. I'm out here on this final row. I'm just throwing them in the boxes. And then when I get back up to the barn, I'll reorganize and situate them in the boxes so they're stackable. But you can see these plants are nice and green for the most part. There's definitely some blight moving in, but the tomatoes are huge and healthy right now. Here's a quick look at them. You can see we got a lot more size on them. Definitely some odd shapes, but for the most part, they're really nice. And we were picking some a little bit on the light side, but yeah, these are beauties. This is the way some of them look out here. Look at that monster. They're so huge. I mean, they're like in between baseballs and softballs. Wow, that's a whopper. Yeah, really nice tomatoes. All right, I just got back up in the barn and finished stacking everything on the pallet. We ended up with 56 cases of tomatoes, all packed by me, solo. Fortunately, I had help picking probably 3/4 of those by Emma yesterday morning before I went out and helped her finish. We're glad those are up out of the field, out of the heat. Roll them in a tomato cooler, get those things chilled down to 60 degrees, and with the leftovers we have in there, which is about 30 or 40 boxes, we should be set for the weekend. Well, it's about lunchtime, so I'm gonna head on in and grab some lunch, and I think I'm gonna hold off on harvesting green beans until tomorrow because it's just so dang hot. And I wanna be able to pick these beans early in the morning when it's still pretty cool and just roll them in the cooler and pack them later when I have some help, maybe tomorrow afternoon when my son gets home from college. So I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, and we'll get back at it.